So what's up? You like him?
I'm speaking out about that, you understand? And it wasn't identity fraud. I was involved with some cats that really I had no idea what they were doing.
The real reason why Soul for Real members truly hated Jase is finally coming to light. They were the smooth R&B brothers, but their success was chaotic. Jase wasn't just the face of the group. He was also the lightning rod for their problems. From a backstage blow-up in Kenya that turned physical, to secret fights over set lists.
I was involved in a low-level involvement with it, of course, in my search of trying to, stay relevant and keep change in my pocket.
There were bitter fallouts over Uptown Records, creative battles with Heavy D, and even family rifts as legal troubles and money drama tore the brothers apart.
Your freedom is based on your money. You understand?
Let's dive into why the group who sang about love on a two-way street completely lost their way with Jase.
When we came out, it was 95. So you got to remember that was before the internet really hit.
Before social media, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yes,
Now let's start with talking about what happened in 2016 in Nairobi, Kenya. When Soul for Real came to perform, things didn't go as planned. People were excited to see them, especially because tickets were expensive. About 5,000 Kenyan shillings, which is a lot of money for many people. Fans came hoping for a great live show filled with singing, dancing, and energy. But instead of singing live, Soul for Real lip-synced, meaning they only pretended to sing while a recorded track played in the background. The crowd quickly noticed and became very upset. People started booing, which means they loudly showed their disappointment. After less than an hour, the group had to leave the stage because the crowd didn't want to listen anymore. It was embarrassing for them. What made it worse was that the fans had paid so much money to see them perform live. Many people felt cheated and disrespected. After the show, things got even worse backstage. The members of the group started arguing. One of them was very angry because he said the others had changed the song list without telling him. In concerts, artists usually plan the list of songs ahead of time so that everything runs smoothly. Changing the list without agreement caused confusion and anger. This argument quickly became a physical fight. It got so bad that security guards had to step in and separate them before someone got hurt. After this event, a Kenyan singer from the group Sauti Sol spoke up. He was not afraid to say what he felt. He posted on social media and joked that the group should be called Soul Not For Real because they were not singing for real. He invited people to come see Sauti Sol perform the next day for only 600 shillings. He promised a real performance with live music and no fake singing. Many fans agreed with him and felt that Soul for Real had let them down. Soul for Real is a group of 4 brothers: Christopher, Andre, Brian, and Jason.
My father, he always had his church. We always sang songs in front of the church. We liked the church choir and stuff, so we always knew how to sing. But
in the 1990s, they were very popular. Their songs like Candy Rain and Every Little Thing I Do were big hits.
What you wanna do, baby, it's all...
People loved their sweet voices and smooth R&B style. They were brought into the music world by the late rapper Heavy D,
They told me to wait, so
who helped them sign with Uptown Records. Their first album, Candy Rain, was a big success. The title song even reached #1 on the R&B charts and #2 on the pop charts. They were stars. Their second album, For Life, came out in 1996 and was produced by well-known names like Heavy D and Sean Diddy Combs. It also did well, and the group continued to tour and perform. But problems soon started. Their music label changed when Andre Harrell left Uptown Records, and the group didn't feel supported anymore. This caused tension, and they eventually left the label. They released a third album, Heat, but it didn't do as well.
I'm going to keep it 100. We've been casualties of the industry as far as a transitional time. You know what I mean?
After that, things started going downhill. The group took a break from music. During this time, they faced many challenges. One of the brothers, Brian, got into serious trouble with the law. In 2009, news came out that he was part of a major bank fraud and identity theft scheme.
The identity fraud issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that about? It says 3 of y'all are indicted for identity fraud?
No.
I think Brian
The case involved about $1 million and over 260 victims. Brian was even on the run from the police while taking care of his baby son.
That I'm speaking out about that. You understand? And it wasn't identity fraud. I was involved with some cats that really I had no idea what they were doing. You know what I mean?
He used fake names to rent apartments and open bank accounts. Police found fake IDs, stolen bank information, and many fake credit cards. His son's mother, Labra Crawford, was also arrested. The case was big and made many headlines. Even though Brian later claimed he acted alone, his brothers, Jason and Andre, were also mentioned in the investigation.
I was involved in a low-level involvement with it, of course, in my search of trying to, stay relevant and keep change in my pocket.
This was a dark time for the group. People were shocked to hear that one of the sweet-voiced brothers from Soul for Real was involved in something so serious. Brian's actions hurt their image, and many fans felt disappointed. But life is complicated. Sometimes people make very bad choices when they are struggling. That doesn't make it right, but it helps us understand the pressure they might have been under. Even after all these problems, the group did not give up completely. They moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and started making music again. They also began working on solo projects and trying other business ideas. In 2022, they released a song called After the Rain in memory of their late mother. It showed a more emotional and softer side of them. They were trying to make a comeback, slowly and carefully. In an interview, Brian and his brother Choc, Christopher, talked about their journey. Brian shared that staying true to yourself is very important. He advised young artists not to chase fame, but to seek knowledge instead. He said, music is not just about talent, it's mostly about business. He told young people to understand how the industry works and to stay grounded in their values. The music group had a great start. They had fans all over the world. But behind the smiles and nice clothes, problems were growing. One of the biggest issues was how the group handled money. At first, when the money started coming in, everyone was excited. They bought expensive clothes, cars, and homes, but they didn't know how to manage the money well.
It's intoxicating to start making a lot of money, and we all know, I don't know if y'all know, but
no one taught them how to save or invest. Many of them trusted the wrong people to handle their money. Some of these people took advantage of them. Soon, the money started to disappear.
Your freedom is based on your money. You understand? So
the group began to fight about money. Some members thought others were taking more than their fair share. Others felt they worked harder and deserved more. These fights made it hard for the group to work together. Trust started to break, and when there's no trust, it's hard to stay together as a team. They began missing shows. Studio time was wasted, projects didn't get finished. This caused more problems with managers and record labels. Without strong leadership or help, the group was heading in the wrong direction. Another big problem was substance abuse. Some members started using drugs or drinking too much alcohol. At first, it might have been to celebrate success or deal with stress, but over time, it became a serious issue. Addiction changed their behavior. People came late to meetings or didn't show up at all. Some would forget the lyrics or mess up performances. The fans started to notice. The media also talked about it, making things worse. The group was getting more attention for their problems than for their music. These feelings built a wall between them. Instead of being a team, they became strangers, working in the same room. This led to their temporary breakup. They needed time to figure things out, both personally and professionally. During the break, many members decided to try solo careers. Some did well, others not so much. One of the members, Choc, worked with other artists like Cassidy. His solo career showed he had talent on his own. But it also caused tension. The others felt that the group was being left behind. When one person shines too bright, others can feel left out. This made it harder to get back together. Everyone had different ideas of what the group should be. Some wanted to go back to their old sound. Others wanted to try something new. But Choc said he didn't leave because of a fight. He didn't leave because of money problems. He stepped back to focus on something very important: his family. Choc wanted to be there for his children and his loved ones. Being a parent is a big job. It takes time, care, and a lot of love. Choc felt that right now, his family needed him more than anything else. His brothers in the group understood. They didn't hold it against him. In fact, they all agreed that whenever Choc felt ready, he could come back. The door is always open for him. This shows how strong their bond is, not just as bandmates, but as family. His brother, Brian Dalyrimple, spoke about it during an interview. He said they call his brother Choc as a nickname. Brian explained that Choc is putting his full attention into raising his family. Even though it's just 3 of them on stage now, Soul for Real is still going strong. Brian made it clear that Choc started this group, so he'll always be welcome. If Choc ever wants to come back, he can. No questions asked. That's love and respect between brothers. When asked if it was hard to return to the music world without Choc, Dalyrimple shared his thoughts. He said their family is tight. They were raised together, and they understand each other. They all talked about it. Since Choc wanted to take care of his family, the rest of them decided to keep going. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one. They have bills to pay and families to support too. Music is their job and their passion, so they kept moving forward. Jase Dalyrimple added more to this idea. He said, yes, things feel different without Choc. Of course, they miss him, but they can't just stop everything. They've worked too hard. They still have fans. They still love performing. Life doesn't stop when one person steps away. You adjust and move ahead. That's what they did. Brian spoke again and explained more. He said it was not an easy choice. Fans were used to seeing all 4 brothers together, so they were unsure how the fans would react to just 3 of them. But they also felt driven to keep going. They wanted to show everyone and themselves that Soul for Real is still strong. Whether there are 4 members or just 1, the heart of the group is still beating. They are brothers, and that bond doesn't break. Back in the 1990s, Soul for Real became famous very quickly.
So what's up? You like 'em?
Their first big song, Candy Rain, was a huge hit. It played on radios everywhere. People loved it. The group was made up of 4 brothers who sang together like they were born to do it. They were signed to a record label called Uptown. This label also had other famous names like Jodeci and Mary J. Blige. Uptown was run by a man named Andre Harrell. Later, Heavy D took over as the head of the label. Heavy D was more than a label boss. He was like a mentor to Soul for Real. He helped guide them during their early success. Their first album had 3 hit songs. Besides Candy Rain, there was Every Little Thing and If You Want It. The group went on big tours and started working on their second album called For Life. But the second album didn't do as well as the first one. The magic wasn't there anymore. The group was later dropped from the label.
I'm going to keep it 100. We've been casualties of the industry as far as a transitional time. You know what I mean?
After being dropped, Soul for Real didn't give up. In 1999, they released their third album called Heat through an independent label. It didn't get as much attention, but they kept pushing forward. In 2012, they moved from New York to Atlanta, Georgia. There, They started their own label and production company. They wanted to take control of their music and business. They released a song called Can't Leave Me Alone, featuring Amanda Dalyrimple. They even planned to work with other artists like Jadakiss, Cassidy, and Keith Murray. Sadly, the full album was never released. Still, Soul for Real didn't stop. In 2017, they put out a new song and video called Love Again. It was part of their comeback. They also started filming for a reality TV show. The brothers appeared on popular shows like The Breakfast Club and Sister Circle. They talked about the ups and downs they went through. They also spoke openly about their relationship with Heavy D.
So what's up, Lotta? You like him? No.
Even though many people thought they were very close to Heavy D, the truth was a little more complicated. They respected him, but they had disagreements. Especially during the second album, they didn't always see eye to eye. Creative decisions became a problem. They didn't feel like they had the same freedom as before. Sadly, these problems were never solved before Heavy D passed away.
And hip-hop pioneer Heavy D died last night.
Choc looked back on their hit song Candy Rain with pride. He said when they first released it, they hoped it would do well.
About the record Candy Rain. It was #1 on the Billboard R&B charts. Did y'all know it was a hit when you recorded it?
Honestly, I could say no.
Yeah.
They didn't know it would become such a big hit. But even years later, fans still love that song. People still thank them for it. That's something that means a lot to Choc and the rest of the group. Jason also shared how being signed to Uptown changed them. He said it made them smarter about the music business. The experience had good parts and bad parts. They learned that the music world isn't just about talent, it's also about business. Sometimes the bad side of the industry shows up. That made them more careful and more prepared for the future. KD, another member of the group, explained why their second album didn't become a hit. He said it was because of bad business. He said when people get large checks, they sometimes care more about money than the music. The label thought their fame from the first album would carry them through, but it didn't work like that. Things changed when Andre Harrell left and Heavy D took over. KD felt Heavy D didn't put the same kind of energy into the second album that Andre had put into the first. Jason agreed. He said if the label really wanted the second album to be big, they could have made it happen. But the music business isn't always fair. Sometimes it feels like there's no love in it. The road back for them has been long and hard. That was the biggest challenge for him. Choc said the same. He talked about how they came from a rough neighborhood, but they made it into the spotlight. That was a big deal. But it wasn't always smooth. They didn't get the long-term success they had hoped for. Still, Choc believes in moving forward. He says, "You never get more than you can handle." He believes that the sky's the limit. Now, with Choc spending time with his family, the rest of the group keeps going. They still sing, they still dream, they still believe in Soul for Real, and they still believe in Choc. They know one day, when he's ready, he might come back. Until then, they carry the torch. As brothers, they support each other, no matter what. Trying to mix different ideas was difficult. Some wanted to stay true to their roots, those smooth R&B sounds that first made them famous. But the music industry was changing. New artists and new styles were taking over. Fans were listening to rap, pop, and electronic music. The group had to decide: change with the times or stick to what they knew best. Not everyone agreed. These disagreements made it even harder for the group to move forward. The truth is, the music business is not easy. It's full of ups and downs. You can be on top one day and forgotten the next. That's what happened to them. When they started, male R&B groups were popular. People loved groups like Boys II Men, Mint Condition, and Jodeci. But times changed. Solo artists started to take over the charts. Fewer all-male groups were making it big. The group realized they were part of something that was slowly disappearing. Brian Dalyrimple once said, "The group noticed this change and felt like it was their time to bring male groups back." He said the industry needed real singers and performers again. He saw a big hole in the music scene that they could fill. This gave them hope. Even though they were gone for a while, they felt like they still had something special to offer. They believed people would still want to hear their voices. Andre Dalyrimple also said that Jase once mentioned on the radio that R&B could take over again. That gave them more hope. If a big artist like Jase saw the value in R&B groups, maybe others would too. They knew that timing was everything. If they came back at the right time, maybe they could win back old fans and get new ones. They felt like the world was missing something, and they had what was missing. Still, they had to be honest with themselves. Being gone for so long meant people might forget about them. They had grown up. They weren't the same cute kids singing sweet songs. Now they were adults, with different voices and different stories. They had to reintroduce themselves. They wanted to show the world who they had become. They wanted to appeal to older fans, but also catch the attention of younger ones. It wasn't going to be easy. They knew the road ahead would be hard, but they weren't afraid. They believed in themselves and their music. Brian said everything is a challenge. Life is full of tests, but he also believed that God only gives us what we can handle, and they were ready to handle it. This time, they had something they didn't have before: the internet. Back then, they had to depend on radio, TV, and magazines. Now they could use the internet to reach fans all over the world without waiting on a record label. The internet gave them power. They could upload music, share videos, and talk to fans directly. They didn't have to wait for someone else to do it. This made them feel strong. It also gave them hope that they could succeed again. They were ready to face whatever came their way. With the help of social media and online platforms, they could build something new, something better.